Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have discussed about the inflorescence, the arrangement of flowers in the floral axis. There do we have discussed certain more terminologies regarding the morphology of flowering plants. Today, we'll discuss about the parts of flower. As do we have discussed before also, the flower is having four whorls. They are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. There do we have discussed the calyx, which is the outermost part of the flower. As do we may observe the green colored structure is called as the calyx, which is the outermost whorl which protects the flower during its bud stage. And these bright colored structure of the flower is called as petals. They are the units of corolla. So, as there are certain cases in certain of the flowers which do different types of specifications. For example, in some cases, the sepals of the flowers, they are united together. So the condition is called as gamosepalous. For example, we may consider this as the unit of the sepals and they are united together. So the condition would be called as gamosepalous flower. Whereas if the sepals they are free, means they are not united to each other, then the condition is called as polysepalous flower. For example, in this case we may observe the sepals they are free, so it is called as polysepalous flower. Here also do we may observe the units of calyx, which are the sepals, they are free. These green colored structures we may observe the edges they are not joined to each other, means they are free. So in this condition also we may say the flower is polysepalous. Just do like there are cases with the corolla also. The units of corolla they are called as petals, and when the petals they are united together, then the condition is called as gamopetalous, means the petals they are united, then the condition is called as gamopetalous. Whereas when the petals they are free, their edges they are not joined to each other, means they can be easily distinguished with the other units of the petals, then the condition is called as polypetalous flower, means the petals are free. So in this case we may observe the petals they are free, they are not united to each other, so the condition is called as polypetalous flower. Now we'll discuss about the estivation. Estivation means the mode of arrangement of the sepals or petals in a flower bud with respect to the other members of the same whorl is known as estivation. Means how the sepals and petals they do are arranged with respect to the other members of the same whorl. Means if you are considering about the sepal, how do the sepals they are arranged with respect to other sepals, or if you are considering about the petals, how do the petals they are arranged with respect to other petals in the flower bud is called as estivation. So estivation they are of four types: velvet type of estivation, twisted type of estivation, imbricate type of estivation and waxillary type of estivation. In the case of velvet estivation, what is the case? When sepals of petals in a whorl just touch another at the margin without overlapping. As in the case of velvet, we may observe the sepals or we may consider the petals, they are joining, they are present in such a way that the margins they touch the other members of the same word, but they do not overlap, then this type of estivation is called as velvet type of estivation, as in the case of Calotropis. Whereas in the case of twisted, as do we may observe, when one margin of the appendage overlaps that of the next one, and so on, as we may observe in this case that one margin is outside, another margin is inside, then again this one is the outer, this one is the inner, again the outer one, the inner one. So just like it is present in such a way either in the case of sepals or petals, that means then we may say the estivation is of twisted type. For example, in the case of China rose, ladyfinger, cotton, etc., we may observe twisted type of estivation. Whereas in the case of imbricate, what is the case? If the margins of sepals or petals, they do overlap one another but not in any particular fashion or direction, then we may call it as imbricate type of estivation. In this case, we may observe the arrangement of the particular sepals, they are not in a particular fashion or direction, but they are overlapping and not in a fixed fashion. So such type of estivation is called as imbricate type of estivation, as in the case of cassia, gulmohar, etc. Whereas the fourth type of estivation, which is waxillary estivation, in which what do we observe? There are 5 petals. For example, we may count it 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are the 5 petals, and the larger or the standard one, this is the larger one, the larger petal. So in the case of pea or beans, we may observe there are 5 petals. This is the one, larger one, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So what do we observe the case? That the bigger petal which overlaps the 2 lateral wings, these 2 lateral wings, they are overlapped by the bigger one, bigger petals, and which in turn they overlaps the smallest 2 petals, and they form the keel like structure. This is the keel like structure. So this type of estivation is called as waxillary estivation, as do we may observe in the case of pea flower or in the case of bean flower, etc. The flower will have 5 petals and the arrangement would be like that. That is too much easily clear cut visible to us. So as do we may observe in the case of pea flower, the largest petal, it overlaps the 2 smaller one, and within which 2 smallest one is being overlapped. So this type of estivation is also called as papilionaceous estivation, as it is exhibited by the members of the Papilionaceae family, also called as waxillary estivation. Now we'll discuss about the androecium. As we know, androecium, it is the male part of the flower which helps to complete the process of reproduction. And androecium, as it is composed of stamens, and each stamen is made up of a filament or a stalk having a bilobed structure called anther. Mostly anthers, they are usually bilobed, and each lobe has 2 chambers which are called the pollen sacs, within which the pollen grains, they are produced within the pollen sacs. And if the stamen is sterile in nature, means it is unable to pollinate, or we can say it is sterile in nature, then the stamen is called as staminode. And The stamens, they may be united with one or other members of the flower. For example, they may be united to the petals or with themselves also. So when stamens, they are attached to the petals. So when the stamens, they are attached to the petals, then the condition is called as epipetalous. So, for example, in the case of brinjal, the stamens, they are attached to the petals, whereas when the stamens, they are attached to the perianth, we have discussed perianth means there is no any, we can say, separate sepal or petal. We cannot distinguish the sepals and petals. In that condition, it is called as perianth. The unit is called perianth, and in that condition, when the stamens, they are attached to the perianth, then the condition is called as epiphyllous. For example, in the case of lily, the stamens in a flower may either remain free also, then the condition would be called as polyandrous condition, as we have discussed. In the case of petals, when the petals were free, they were called as polypetalous. Just like when the stamens, they are free, then the condition is called as polyandrous condition. Or if they may be united, they may be to varying degrees. For example, it may be a monadelphous. When the stamens, they are united in one bunch or one bundle, then it is called as monadelphous. For example, in the case of China rose. Or if the stamens, they are united in two bunches, then the condition would be called as diadelphous. For example, in the case of pea, just like when the stamens, they are united into more than two bundles, then the condition would be called as polyadelphous condition. For example, in the case of citrus fruits. So, till so far here, thank you. Have a nice day.